Every so often, something rolls onto the road that feels less like a machine and more like a statement. Something that doesn't just move people, but divides them. It's not about horsepower or range anymore. It's about identity, design, and the question of what the future of transportation should look like. Some see it as the dawn of a new industrial era. Others as a steel-clad warning about ambition taken too far. Love it or hate it, this vehicle has forced every automaker and every driver to ask whether progress should be smooth and familiar or sharp and disruptive. In an age where every design seems to blur together, this one refuses to blend in. It stands as a mirror to our obsessions with technology, luxury, and rebellion. So buckle up. This story isn't about comfort. It's about controversy, innovation, and a bold gamble on what comes next. Subscribe and tell us in the comments what model you want covered next. The Tesla Cybertruck 2025 begins not in a design studio, but in a moment of shock, the kind that ripples through an entire industry. When it was first unveiled years earlier, the Cybertruck looked like a prop that had escaped from a sci-fi set, a wedge of stainless steel that mocked the curves and conventions of every pickup before it. It wasn't just different, it was defiant. Tesla's vision was to reinvent one of America's most traditional vehicles, a symbol of blue-collar grit, and turn it into a futuristic object of status. To do that, Elon Musk and his team started with a blank sheet, literally throwing out decades of truck-making wisdom. The decision to build the body out of cold-rolled stainless steel wasn't about style. It was about strength and durability, though it would come at enormous cost. Conventional trucks use flexible panels that can be stamped and painted with ease, but this alloy resisted both. It dented stamping presses and forced Tesla to rethink its entire production line. The payoff was supposed to be a vehicle immune to rust, dents, and the passage of time itself. For owners, that promise meant fewer repairs and a design that would look just as brutal 10 years from now. But promises this bold carry risk. The Cybertruck's path from prototype to production became a story of engineering struggle and corporate pride. Inside Tesla, engineers were reportedly split between awe and anxiety. Manufacturing stainless steel at scale was a nightmare. Each panel had to be cut with precision, every weld exposed to scrutiny. There was no margin for error because, unlike paint, there was no hiding imperfections. Even before a single truck hit the road, Tesla had spent years refining processes to avoid warping, cracking, and the endless problem of fingerprint smudges on the raw metal surface. Yet, behind that mechanical chaos lay a purpose. Musk wanted a vehicle that could withstand the apocalypse, literally calling it armored, with windows that could resist impacts. The infamous glass break during the unveiling became a meme overnight, but it also revealed the paradox at the Cybertruck's core. A product sold on invincibility that could still bleed. Still, interest didn't fade. Hundreds of thousands of reservations poured in. For Tesla loyalists, the Cybertruck represented not just a pickup, but a rebellion against sameness. In a market dominated by evolutionary updates and familiar silhouettes, it was revolutionary by sheer audacity. But as Tesla pushed forward, it had to confront something more difficult than making a steel wedge drivable. It had to make it usable. Pickup buyers care about function. Towing, payload, bed access, these aren't luxuries. They're daily realities. Tesla claimed best-in-class numbers, boasting a tri-motor version that could out-tow traditional heavyweights. Yet critics wondered how that would hold up in real-world use, where electric trucks face range loss under heavy loads. The company promised fast charging, adaptive air suspension, and even a 500-mile range in top trims, but with each update, specs shifted. Behind every press release, delays piled up, and competitors seized the chance to launch their own electric pickups. Still, Tesla's mystique kept attention locked. Every photo leak, every test spotting reignited debate. Was this a masterpiece of industrial design or a stainless steel ego trip? What couldn't be denied was its cultural presence. The Cybertruck became a character, an icon of tech bravado in a world anxious about change. From the streets of Los Angeles to memes on Wall Street, everyone had an opinion. Tesla understood this better than anyone. The controversy was part of the brand. Even as supply chains buckled and timelines slipped, the company leaned into the narrative. The future doesn't arrive on schedule. It arrives when it's ready to shock. For early adopters, waiting wasn't frustration, it was initiation. And as 2025 approached, Tesla finally delivered on its years-long tease. The production Cybertruck looked nearly identical to the prototype, which itself was an act of defiance. Most concepts are softened for reality. This one stayed sharp. Its proportions challenged parking spaces, its presence commanded attention. But that attention carried weight. Could Tesla's boldest vehicle yet handle the expectations it had built? The answer required looking beyond looks and into the numbers, the real-world data, the user feedback, and the broader market impact that would soon unfold. And that's where the story of the Cybertruck 2025 truly takes shape, as its radical design meets the cold test of the open road, the competition, and the customers who finally get their hands on it. The Tesla Cybertruck 2025 enters segment 2 with its identity finally tangible: metal, rubber, electricity, and controversy wrapped in one angular package. Now the question shifts from what is it to what does it mean? The Cybertruck's arrival sent tremors through every corner of the auto market. Traditional truck buyers saw it as alien, even hostile to the rugged heritage they valued. Yet tech-forward consumers saw the same geometry and thought, evolution. Tesla positioned the Cybertruck not only as a pickup, but as a performance machine, a vehicle that could sprint like a sports car, tow like a workhorse, and still drive itself on the highway. That positioning blurred lines that once defined entire segments. Suddenly, the idea of a truck as a commuter vehicle didn't sound absurd. It sounded aspirational. The Cybertruck's tri-motor beast configuration, delivering near supercar acceleration, was both a marketing weapon and a philosophical statement. This was Tesla saying speed, utility, and futurism could coexist, even if physics protested. But performance is only half the story. Perception drives the rest. Early owners documented reactions from strangers, thumbs-ups, laughter, disbelief. For Tesla, that social currency was priceless. The Cybertruck became the rolling conversation piece of 2025, a vehicle that sold the idea of audacity as luxury. Yet not all the noise was positive. Critics accused Tesla of chasing novelty over practicality, pointing out ergonomic quirks, visibility issues, and panel gaps that betrayed the car's unorthodox construction. Consumer Reports questioned build consistency, while industry veterans warned that stainless steel could corrode in ways unseen until years later. Still, Tesla leaned on software as its redemption arc. Over-the-air updates adjusted steering response, refined traction control, and even tweaked suspension presets in real time. What used to require a recall now required a Wi-Fi connection. The Cybertruck's ecosystem grew with each update, merging Silicon Valley's iterative logic with Detroit's hardware traditions. And while competitors tried to mimic Tesla's pace, most couldn't match its media gravity. Every post, every review, every drone shot of a Cybertruck charging in the wild became viral currency. But under that hype was an undeniable shift in the American truck landscape. Rivals rushed out electric alternatives, each trying to capture a slice of Tesla's spotlight without inheriting its risk. Legacy automakers pushed aluminum, composites, and range extenders to solve problems Tesla attacked head-on with design minimalism. Some argued that the Cybertruck's aesthetic freedom gave those rivals permission to experiment again, breaking decades of conservative design habits. But others saw danger, a future where shock value mattered more than function. In the aftermarket, the Cybertruck sparked an entirely new subculture. Some owners wrapped the bare metal in color-shifting vinyls to avoid the fingerprints. Others doubled down on its alien vibe with lighting kits and polygonal accessories. A few off-road enthusiasts tested its durability against rocks and mud, discovering that Tesla's stainless skin could indeed take hits, but at the cost of difficult repairs. Because no paint means no cheap fixes. Every scratch tells a permanent story. It turned ownership into a paradox of pride and paranoia. Yet the Cybertruck thrived on paradox. It wasn't built to fit in. It was built to provoke. Even Tesla's decision to price it high, often beyond six figures for well-equipped trims, didn't deter buyers. In a market flooded with luxury SUVs, the Cybertruck offered a different kind of prestige, the prestige of disruption. And that mattered, especially in the United States, where vehicles double as identity badges. In coastal tech cities, it symbolized futurism. In off-road communities, it symbolized defiance. In suburbia, it symbolized wealth and rebellion rolled into one. Through 2025, Tesla rode that momentum hard. Production slowly increased, and sightings grew common enough to normalize what once looked outlandish. That normalization is the true measure of influence, when shock becomes standard. But under the spotlight of pop culture came real-world scrutiny. Questions arose about repair costs, insurance premiums, and battery recycling. Critics warned that Tesla's quest for the indestructible might lead to environmental blind spots, given the energy demands of stainless steel production. Meanwhile, supporters pointed to the Cybertruck's longevity and claimed that building something to last decades was the more sustainable path. The debate fittingly mirrored the truck itself: polarized, relentless, impossible to ignore. In the broader industry, the Cybertruck's success, or at least its persistence, forced change. Design studios began sketching sharper angles. Marketing teams began selling boldness as a feature. Tesla's experiment had reprogrammed the language of trucks, where heritage once ruled and now innovation reigned. And in that language shift lay the next test. Could Tesla maintain the cultural lead it created, or would the Cybertruck's extremity trap it in its own image? That tension, between icon and impracticality, sets the stage for the final act of this story, where the legacy of the Tesla Cybertruck 2025 begins to crystallize, not as a headline or meme, but as a benchmark for what comes after it. The Tesla Cybertruck 2025 reaches its third and most revealing chapter as the excitement cools and reality takes the wheel. Now that the stainless steel phenomenon has been delivered, driven, and dissected, the conversation turns to what it actually leaves behind. The Cybertruck 2025 was never meant to be just another pickup. It was Tesla's thesis on how the company sees the future of mobility. Armored minimalism, radical efficiency, and unapologetic individuality. Years after its announcement, that vision still provokes debate. But now the debate has substance. Early adopters have lived with it through real winters, dusty work sites, and long-haul commutes. They report what the spec sheets couldn't predict, where theory meets asphalt. The range, while impressive, fluctuates under heavy towing. Charging times feel longer when you're hauling gear through rural networks. Yet those who bought it for durability find that promise largely kept. The Cybertruck shrugs off door dings, roadside debris, and even minor collisions that would dent aluminum rivals. Maintenance becomes a strange new experience. Fewer parts to service, but costlier when things go wrong. Repairing stainless steel isn't like replacing a fender. It's an art. This reality has split owners into two camps: those who see it as a forever vehicle, and those who see it as a rolling experiment they're paying to participate in. But that divide may be exactly what Tesla wanted. Every Cybertruck on the road acts as moving propaganda for Tesla's ethos. The world doesn't change through consensus. It changes through friction. And that friction, between old and new, function and spectacle, has reshaped how automakers approach risk. The Cybertruck 2025's influence stretches far beyond its angular body. Designers across the industry now talk about cyber design, a shorthand for brutalist, unapologetically digital styling. Even if they never copy it, they react to it. It has made cautious design look stale. And in an age where attention equals currency, the Cybertruck minted its own economy of disruption. Yet Tesla's challenge now is longevity. The company must support a platform unlike any it has built before, with materials and methods that don't scale easily. Replacement parts are complex, aftermarket modifications require precision tools, and repair shops face steep learning curves. Still, Tesla thrives on iteration. What starts as difficult often becomes routine. The longer the Cybertruck stays in production, the more the process matures, and the more its legend solidifies. Financially, it became a flagship halo product rather than a mass-market utility. The profit margins are strong, but the volumes remain limited. Tesla never needed every truck buyer. It needed the loudest ones. That strategy mirrors the early days of the Model S, when exclusivity fueled allure. But unlike the Model S, the Cybertruck 2025 carries an ideological weight. It's a commentary on American consumption, on the merging of tech culture with blue-collar tradition. It asks why we value brute power and minimalist luxury in the same breath. It invites discomfort, and that's why it endures in conversation even as newer EVs flood the market. On roads where everything starts to look alike, the Cybertruck still slices through monotony like a geometric ghost. Owners say driving it feels like stepping into a future that hasn't been decided yet. A future where the same vehicle can be both practical and performative. Tesla has hinted that lessons from this model will shape upcoming designs, from semi-trucks to smaller consumer vehicles. Whether that means more stainless steel or simply more courage remains to be seen. What's undeniable is the Cybertruck's symbolic power. It proved that shock can sell, that authenticity can be engineered, and that even in a market obsessed with comfort, disruption still draws the crowd. For Tesla, this isn't the end of an experiment. It's a manifesto on wheels. And as the 2025 Cybertruck continues to prowl highways and headlines, it stands as proof that innovation doesn't have to please everyone. It just has to make everyone look. The Tesla Cybertruck 2025 closes its story where every ambitious vehicle ultimately arrives, in the hands of everyday drivers who turn headlines into habits. In the United States, those drivers have discovered a machine that's equal parts marvel and contradiction. The Cybertruck 2025 delivers instant torque, near-silent cruising, and a road presence that feels more spaceship than pickup. Yet with that spectacle come the realities of ownership. High insurance costs due to the stainless steel body, limited parts availability, and a learning curve unlike anything else on the market. Buyers expecting a traditional truck quickly realize this isn't one. It's a statement on wheels, built for those who see function and form as inseparable. Tesla's service network has expanded to meet demand, but the truck's unique construction means repairs can still take time. Battery reliability remains strong thanks to Tesla's latest architecture, but heavy towing continues to eat range faster than marketing suggests. Still, the Cybertruck rewards those who adapt. Its electric drivetrain slashes maintenance, its over-the-air updates refine features, and its futuristic cabin proves surprisingly livable after the novelty fades. For many owners, it's not just transportation. It's a declaration that they're part of the future, not waiting for it. Pricing in 2025 remains premium, well above $80,000 for most configurations. But resale values hold steady, fueled by scarcity and cult-like demand. Import availability is minimal, as Tesla prioritizes the North American market, but US drivers benefit from homegrown infrastructure and tax incentives that soften the blow. The bigger story, though, is cultural. The Cybertruck 2025 isn't merely influencing what people drive, it's influencing how they think about what a vehicle can represent. It's shifted the conversation from luxury to longevity, from comfort to courage. Whether you love it or loathe it, you notice it, and that's the mark of something significant. In the end, the Cybertruck doesn't just mark a point in Tesla's history. It marks a turning point in how innovation enters the mainstream. Unapologetic, polarizing, unforgettable. Its legacy won't be measured by sales alone, but by the lines it dared to draw. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Sometimes progress doesn't arrive polished or quiet. It arrives in stainless steel.